much of our life trying to prove something, to prove that you're enough. You have to prove that you're pretty enough. You have to prove that you're smart enough. You prove that you're a good wife or a good friend. And I was like, I am just so done with.
Meghan Markle has once again landed in the spotlight, and this time it's for being authentic. Or at least that's what her team wants everyone to believe. In her most recent podcast appearance on the Jamie Kern Lima Show, Meghan sat down with no makeup, no script, and supposedly nothing to hide. But instead of winning people over, the whole thing seems to have backfired badly. The podcast episode was hyped as Meghan's realest moment yet. She laughed, cried, and read letters she writes to her kids every night. She looked casual, comfortable, and makeup-free, though people still suspect there was a glam team behind that natural glow. Host Jamie Kern Lima spent the whole time praising Meghan like she was a queen, calling her so beautiful and her stories heartwarming. Meghan laughed and wiped away tears, saying she was so grateful to have this space to be raw. But not everyone bought it.
Of all things, it's making me emotional.
I have full body chills right now.
For them to be able to look back and go, oh my gosh, she has loved us so much.
Viewers quickly started questioning the so-called authenticity. Some thought it felt too scripted, too polished, and too perfectly timed. Even Meghan's quivering voice and well-placed sniffles made people suspicious. Critics on social media accused her of putting on a performance to gain sympathy and boost her brand. Comments like crocodile tears and PR stunt flooded Twitter, now X, and users pointed out how Meghan always seems to need to convince people she's authentic. It didn't help that this isn't the first time she's promised realness. Her previous podcast, Archetypes, was also supposed to be unscripted and deep. It featured big names like Serena Williams and Mariah Carey, but people said it felt over-rehearsed and all about Meghan. The project had a massive $20 million deal with Spotify, which later got cancelled. Critics said she and Harry don't really want to work, and the audio felt like a self-congratulatory performance more than meaningful storytelling.
Everything is blossoming right now.
Yes, well, and with actors, that happens a lot too, where they say, this overnight success story. And they're saying, I have been on this grind and auditioning for 10 years and hearing no after no after no after no after no.
Even Meghan's fans seemed torn. Some praised the vulnerability and honesty, especially when she talked about motherhood and her lifestyle brand. But others felt she was trying way too hard to seem relatable. For example, she mentioned how exhausting it is to write emails, newsletters, social media captions, and run her business as ever. She listed tasks like being a mom, a wife, and a friend, all while having enough wealth, staff, and freedom that most people can only dream of. This working mom narrative didn't sit well with everyone. Critics, including podcast hosts and social media commentators, called it tone deaf. One person said she lives in a castle and has people to run her bathwater, yet she's complaining about being busy. Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports said the regular moms don't have nannies, PR teams, or luxury homes to fall back on. Megyn Kelly called her a malignant narcissist and said Meghan's been using her royal status for sympathy since day one. Meanwhile, Jamie Kern Lima, the host, caught her own share of backlash. Viewers called her interview style robotic and awkward, like a cheerleader reading from a PR script. Every time Meghan shared something deep, Jamie responded with exaggerated, oh wow, and so beautiful reactions. People joked that it felt more like two women reading a stage play than having a real conversation. Others said Jamie acted like Meghan's hired hype woman, echoing every emotion Meghan displayed.
How hard it is until they do it, and the world now can see these wins, which is really exciting, but you've been working so hard. Like, you've been working so hard for so long, and all of the sudden it's all coming, like everything is blossoming right now.
Then came Meghan's Netflix project, With Love, Meghan, a show where she cooks, gardens, and invites friends to a fancy California estate. It was supposed to be a soft lifestyle series, but it got absolutely roasted. Celebrity chef Jameson Stocks, who cooked for King Charles, called the show painful to watch and said he refused to work on it because it felt fake from the start. Netflix allegedly sent him a legal threat after he criticized the show, but he didn't back down. He even added, I don't think she can cook, and suggested she should go back to acting because at least she was decent at that.
Aesthetic in terms of how I see things. I've never, ever considered myself artistic. So it's really odd to voice that now as all of this is people are like copying my handwriting or how I put a plate together or how I put an outfit together. I've never thought of it. Like, I don't paint. I don't.
Critics tore the show apart. Variety called it a Montecito ego trip. Vulture said it was like stepping into the center of nothing. And The Independent mocked Meghan for whispering "goodnight, sweetheart" to a cake before putting it in the oven. Others joked that the show might only appeal to Oprah Winfrey or billionaires with backyard beehives, not the average viewer trying to get through a grocery bill. The audience ratings were brutal. On IMDb, it scored a 2.4 out of 10 with over 1,500 votes. And on Rotten Tomatoes, it had only 11% from viewers. People weren't just bored, they were mad. Many accused Meghan of trying to present herself as a relatable Martha Stewart while clearly living a life of extreme privilege. Social media users weren't kind. Some mocked her no-makeup look, saying her hair was clearly styled and her skin looked flawless. Not exactly what most people look like after a long day of work and parenting. Others said Meghan talks too much about how hard she works without actually showing much of it. Writing social media captions and picking product colors didn't seem like the kind of grind regular working moms go through. And then there's the issue of the failed promises. Her online store allegedly sold out inventory that never existed, and customers are still waiting for refunds. Critics called it another example of Meghan overhyping and under-delivering, much like the podcast, the Netflix show, and other past ventures. At the same time, some viewers expressed frustration with how Meghan constantly brings everything back to herself. In interviews, speeches, and even letters to her children, the focus always seems to circle back to me. One joke online was that if you played a drinking game based on how often she says "I," you could be out cold in 10 minutes. In the podcast, Meghan also mentioned Harry's recent support for her, saying he did something sweet in the press. But instead of boosting her likability, it added to the impression that they're always trying to control the narrative, carefully placing headlines to paint themselves as victims or underdogs.
And continues to do. How does that make you feel?
Oh, he's such a great partner. I feel that, right? I feel that every day in how supportive he's been and is. But I didn't know he said that. So that's really nice because I think having a partner, I mean, I asked you this when you were on my podcast, like, do you think that you would have been able to get through all the no's and the challenges?
Even Meghan's claim that she was the happiest she's ever been drew side eyes. One commentator asked, "How many people do you know who have to say they're happy all the time?" They argued that when you're truly content, you don't have to convince people. Meghan's insistence on being seen a certain way, authentic, hard-working, happy, is exactly what's making her come across as the opposite. This podcast episode that was supposed to show Meghan's vulnerable, makeup-free side only deepened the divide. Some fans thought it was a touching, honest moment, but many others saw it as just another chapter in the Meghan show, where everything is carefully staged for impact. Whether it's crying on cue, whispering to cakes, or listing off how hard it is to post on Instagram, critics say it's all part of a calculated effort to stay relevant, relatable, and adored. But the more she tries, the more the public seems to push back. People aren't looking for perfection, they're looking for someone who's real, and for many, Meghan isn't giving that. Whether it's her polished natural looks, her over-scripted shows, or her carefully rehearsed vulnerability, there's still a sense that the real Meghan, if she exists, is hidden behind a thick filter of PR. And that's the big question the world keeps asking. Is Meghan Markle finally being real, or is she just getting better at acting like it? For now, the jury's still out, but one thing is clear. No matter how many podcasts or Netflix shows she does, the public is paying very, very close attention. Let us know in the comments, smash that like button, and make sure to subscribe so you never miss any videos. See you in the next video.